Hi, welcome to WEFTEC Now. I'm Travis Loop, the host from the Water Environment Federation, joined by two guests from Veolia for this conversation today. Very excited to have Vincent Caillaud. He's been with Veolia for almost 20 years, starting his career in the desalination business unit, all the way to being appointed Chief Executive Officer of Veolia Water Technologies in March of 2020. Vincent, thank you very much for coming on.
Hi, Travis. Thank you. My pleasure.
And also have Mike Gutshall. He is General Manager of Veolia Water Technologies, Municipal and Light Industry Business in the United States. He has been with the company for 26 years and has been a faithful WEF member and WEFTEC participant over the years. We appreciate that. Mike, thanks for coming on as well.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to talk about a phrase that Veolia likes to use and what this means: ecological transformation. Now, I've worked in water myself for quite some time, and this is a bit of a phrase I don't hear that much, but you all like to use this. What does that mean, ecological transformation?
We use it basically to define in two words who we are and what we do. In Veolia, as individuals, but also as a group, we join this group and we work every day. We develop solutions every day to have a positive impact to the world we live in, to all our stakeholders, our employees, our clients, but also the society in general and the environment in general. And the word transformation is important for us because it implies that we have an action. It implies that we impact on a day-to-day basis the world we live in a positive way, for sure. And we believe that we're living in a very particular period from that point of view in terms of environmental challenges. We're facing unprecedented challenges in terms of environment, climate change first, it's obvious, and you live that you face that in the US as everywhere in the world in terms of water scarcity, in terms of extreme events, fires, floodings, droughts, etc., but also the challenges in terms of biodiversity. So it goes beyond the climate change. And our ecological transformation that we intend to lead as a company is how we face in terms of mitigation, but also in terms of adaptation, how we face the challenges that we have now in front of us.
You use this phrase. How do you put it into practice? How are you driving ecological transformation?
To impact, to lead on the ecological transformation, you need several things. You need commitment. We have that. You need expertise. You need money. You need investment. We bring that and we get that. We need also, let's say, a law framework, a regulation framework, step by step. In all the countries we work in, we see regulation moving towards more action towards the environmental challenges. And you also need technologies. And more specifically in Veolia Water Technology, that's what we do. That's our day-to-day business inside Veolia. We develop the technologies to address for us, for our clients, the environmental challenges. And if I had to give you one example, as we are in North America, I would give you a Canadian example. Round the Reef, on the Canadian side of the Great Lakes, it's from its industrial past, it's a highly polluted area with very nasty things, PHS and over many nasty components on a very large size area. If I remember right, it's about 60, 70 hectares of highly polluted sediments. We brought our quite large technological expertise to develop a temporary system that will treat and is treating the sediments of the polluted sediments up to a point that the water that we reject to the Great Lakes, to the water we reject to the environment, is basically below the detection limits in terms of water pollutants that were highly present in the sediment. So that's one of the examples.
Mike, are there other examples that you'd like to share on how you're driving ecological transformation?
On the West Coast, out in Bremerton, Washington, we supplied our ActiFlow high rate clarification process, and it was installed to treat wet weather flows. And it actually helped to improve the shellfish quality in Puget Sound. And you take that all the way across to the East Coast, where you have multiple technologies like Biosteer, BAF, and Anox Coldness MBBR that contribute to the Chesapeake Bay Initiative and have helped to improve the water quality in Onondaga Lake and Long Island Sound. Some really nice case studies there. But as a Pennsylvania native and an avid outdoorsman, one of my favorite examples is our work with the Pennsylvania DEP, where we treat acid mine drainage on the Cinnamahoming Creek. At one point, the aquatic life in this creek was essentially wiped out. And when you look at it today, the trout fishing is outstanding, and there's actually elk herds roaming the lands around the streams. So some really nice examples there. But when we talk about ecological transformation, it's not really just the water quality. If you really look at the portfolio of our technologies, you can see that a lot of them minimize footprint, they conserve energy, so holistically, we're really doing what we can to help our customers accomplish their environmental goals.
So water reuse is something that is becoming more popular and is an important part of sustainability. I'm really curious from where you sit, what trends you see in water reuse.
Water reuse is an option. It's probably the most sensible option to water scarcity. A sentence we used to say in Veolia is that water is too precious to be used only once. Definitely for municipal use, for industrial use, water reuse is a solution that is available today from a technological point of view. The biggest barrier to widely use of water reuse is more emotional, if you want. It's a bit of regulation for sure. What regulation needs to allow water reuse, but it's a lot of emotional. Am I ready to drink of water that has already been used? And beyond drinking is also, am I ready to use as an industrial or as agriculture water that has already been used? From a water treatment point of view, there's no problem, but it's really something that we need to decide as citizens. But to be fair, we are left with no choice. The water footprint, because they decide or because they're forced to do it, the water footprint of industrial is reducing on a yearly basis. So we see many options and many opportunities in terms of industrial water reuse. Municipal water reuse will probably take more time, and what we see is that it's only at the point when there is no other option than municipalities go to water reuse.
I'm curious if you have some examples or case studies of water reuse projects, some exciting things that have happened out there.
I have a very recent one. Earlier this year in 2021, we started a project of water reuse for inhabitants, for municipal use in a western area in Vendée. The project is called Jourdain, so western area in France. It can be unexpected because it's an area pretty green, very close to the Atlantic Ocean. But the reality is that year after year, summers are more and more difficult in terms of water scarcity. And we recover the treated water downstream the wastewater treatment plant, and by a series of technological treatment, we re-inject it to the source from where the potable water is taken. So that's a very clear example that even in France, and it's the first of its kind in Western Europe, but even in France, which seems to be a country not so affected by water scarcity, we start doing that.
Mike, do you want to share some examples of water reuse projects?
Yeah, as Vincent said, in the U.S., there's limited supply and growing demand, so reuse is absolutely key to us. When I go back to technology, I can look at numerous examples here where we have solutions for reuse. In the US and in Canada, we have dozens of Hydrotech disc filters that we use to treat wastewater, for reuse at parks and golf courses and in that type of irrigation. So it's kind of the most basic level of reuse. An interesting project down in Mexico, where we're working with Nestle, where they actually extract water from cow's milk during the production of powdered infant formula. The water then that's extracted is actually reused in the production loop. And so Nestle doesn't have to draw any new water from the local sources. So that it's really a nice example. But again, just not looking at the liquid stream. When we talk about, reuse, we need to look at the whole life of wastewater and consider the sludge. We have a dryer up in Wisconsin where we lower the sludge volume and reduce disposal costs. But we also provide a nice Class A fertilizer that's used for local agriculture. And likewise in Minnesota, we have a dryer that produces 90% dry sludge. But that sludge then goes to a small furnace where it's used as a fuel. It burns, and we use the heat from the burning sludge to dry the sludge in the first place. So it's really a nice way to recycle the heat and right back to the dryer and save on energy. We have hundreds of more examples of these kind of systems where we're reusing both water and sludge.
Well, water reuse is part of this broader concept of water resilience. How do we make sure that our water supplies are resilient? What does that phrase, I guess, mean to you all at Veolia, and what kind of things are happening to boost water resilience?
The water industry is by itself resilient because it's primarily driven by human consumption. So it is resilient. It has to be resilient. What we often describe as water resilience is more how we make sure that water ensures the resilience of our industrial clients, how we make sure that our water systems, our water solution, our water services do not affect or maintain the business continuity of our industrial clients. First, it goes with the resilience or the reliability of the technologies we offer to our clients. Second, it goes with the quality of the services we offer and we propose to our clients. And as part of these services, one thing that bolsters the resilience of our offer is the digital. And in particular, during the pandemic that we've been facing, it's amazing the added value of the digital tools are brought to maintain the business continuity of our offers. First, because it reduces the distance between the plant and the potential for the problem and the expert. It can be on the other side of the world. They are very into this plant. Also because we have the data. The digital offers us access to real-time data, long-term data, again, giving the opportunity for our experts to analyze that. And also because we are now able to propose to our clients digital products and digital option with a very high added value in terms of monitoring, but also in terms of optimization, in terms of control. I'll give you an example. In Nozedo is a big wastewater treatment plant in Italy. It's the biggest one in Italy for reuse, for discharge to agriculture. We implemented on this plant probably our most complete digital offer. It's called Upgrade Plant. And thanks to that, thanks to those optimization that we bring to this plant, we save by 20% the electrical consumption of the plant. And in turn, we reduce the CO2 footprint of this plant accordingly. We save up to 80% of the chemicals used. And at the end of the day, in addition to the positive environmental impact, it makes a bottom line impact in the range of €500,000 per year, which is very material for a plant of this size. So digital is really something that has changed the paradigm in terms of water resilience.
And to add on to what Vincent was saying about continuity for our customers, I think about our emergency mobile trailers and our mobile capability. Back in 2017, as an example, with Hurricane Irma, there was some major destruction in the Caribbean, and it damaged a lot of the drinking water supplies. So we were able to very quickly, mobilize some mobile reverse osmosis systems that we brought into the islands and operated for 6 months, producing drinking water, for the local communities during the repairs of their water systems. And likewise, just last year, the big Texas ice storms. We had a chemical plant that called us, and their RO systems were down. And really, in record time, we were able to mobilize a trailer-mounted reverse osmosis system, get it down to Texas, and keep their operations going, through the remainder of that ice storm. So really, some pretty remarkable capabilities from a emergency mobile standpoint.
A couple times the coronavirus pandemic was mentioned. So I'd like to just shift a little bit to kind of business operations and ask what Veolia did to adapt during this pandemic and what lessons were learned.
Each time I have a question of this type, I take the opportunity to just reaffirm how proud I am of the teams of Veolia Water Technology, how proud I am on the way they reacted, how fast they reacted, how fast they adapted to something that, let's say, in a matter of months between January and March, affected all of us all around the globe, and was unprecedented everywhere. And it's fantastic the way the teams have reacted to protect themselves, protect their families, protect their clients, protect their colleagues, that's for sure, and also to maintain the business of all our clients. We maintain the municipal usage of water, but also we work hard to maintain the municipal the business of our industrial clients. And back in March, really at the peak of the pandemics, of the first wave of the pandemics, we had technicians that continued to intervene to service ultra-pure water systems in hospitals, in healthcare facility. That was not an easy thing to do, but they were extremely committed, extremely conscious of the importance of their job, and they've done it, and we've done it, and we continue to do it.
I think from our standpoint here in the Americas, just like Vincent just said, I had no idea how fast we could transition to a remote workforce, and it was really remarkable. I think some of the advantage we had, though, is being this big global company, is that we're kind of used to that global collaboration, right? Every day we're on with people from around the world, sharing ideas and sharing best practices. But also because of that interaction, because of that communication, as the virus peaked in different parts of the world at different times, we were able to learn from the other businesses around the world and from our coworkers. What did they do? How did they react to these peaks in the virus? And we were able to transfer that information here and be prepared ahead of time, and use their best practices so we could better respond to the peaks as they came. Something else that was really accelerated here was our remote startups. Our one of our priorities, number one priority, safety. Number two, keep our customers up and running. And we really accelerated the capabilities we had for remote startups and augmented reality. And for the most part, I'd say for the whole part, we kept our customers up and going through the entire pandemic. So just like Vincent said, very proud of the effort that our teams made.
I also wanted to ask you about one of the kind of biggest news stories in the water sector, your merger with Suez, and just wanted to, I couldn't complete this interview without asking you what kind of comment you could offer on that.
Now, that's for sure. That's definitely big news and great news for us at Veolia and also for Suez, and it's happening. We're very close now to the closing of the operation. I refer back to the beginning of our discussion about being the leader of ecological transformation. That's a major step toward this objective will be stronger. We'll have access to a larger portfolio of complementary technology. We'll have a wider presence from a geographical point of view. We'll have access to more expertise, more brains, more innovation. So it's just a fantastic step for us in our mission of being the leader of ecological transformation.
Thank you both very much for this conversation. Very informative. Always great to get the perspective from Veolia, a true leader in the water sector. So thank you both very much.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, Travis.
Take care.
Thanks.